Scarlet and Black Nation podcast, episode 3. We are your host. I am TJ Kern. That is Blake Hartsfield. Blake, we didn't get to do a show last week. Figured a lot of scheduling conflicts on top of the fact that we played Arkansas Pine Bluff. We decided to wait until after the Kent State game. More of the same last Saturday at the Jones. Blake, back-to-back 60 burgers for the Red Raiders. And really, the starters were done by the half in both games.
Yeah, DJ. One thing that we can say about this year's team, as opposed to maybe some of the teams in previous years, is they're taking care of business against teams that they're supposed to take care of business against, right? To win 67-7 against Arkansas Pine Bluff, and then follow it up with a 62-14 win against Kent State. Your starters are all out by halftime. TJ, compare that to last year, right? I mean, they go to overtime with Abilene Christian in a game they should have lost, and that's a game that you would expect to have this kind of a score line in. They go up to Wazoo and get their asses handed to them. Excuse my French there, but they did get their butts kicked up in Washington. You go back before that, the year 2 of Joey McGuire. They go up and get their butts kicked in Laramie, Wyoming, right? And if you want to continue this trend going back into the Matt Wells era, I remember games against Houston Christian that were very close. I remember a game against Stephen F. Austin that was very close. The fact that they're taking care of business is a much more encouraging sign than what we've seen in early season games in previous years here.
And not only that, we're going to talk about our guy, Baron Morton. We're going to give him some flowers. The senior signal caller has just been outstanding so far this season. Blake, this guy looked like he might have had a minor injury in that first game and was held out as a precaution. We were worried that he might not start, but did he really have to start against Kent State? And then lo and behold, the report comes out, hey, BM's ready to go. And boy, did he look the part on Saturday.
Not only did he look the part, TJ, and he's looked the part in both games. Obviously, I don't need to sell Baron Morton any more than I already have over the history of this podcast. But not only did he look the part against Kent State, TJ, he's up there, throwing touchdown passes and then running up and doing the jump, side hip celebration thing with his offensive line. So that knee's fine, right? If he's doing that, the knee's fine. So it was a minor, the report was it was a minor hyperextension. TJ, I don't know if you've ever hyperextended a knee. As somebody who's done that a bunch, it is like the rolled ankle of knees, right? It's not ideal. You don't want to hyperextend the knee, but if there's no ligament damage, it's kind of like a rolled ankle, right? It just, a couple of days of ice and rest, and typically you're going to be fine. And that looks like the case with Baron. TJ, this is the healthiest he has looked since his freshman year in that first start ever against Oklahoma State. He has zip on the ball. He is delivering it down the field. There's been a couple of off target throws, so that's going to happen with as many vertical routes as they're throwing. But this offense is tailor-made to what he does well, and that's throwing it deep, right, and getting it down the field. And he's looked great against Arkansas Pine Bluff in a half. He goes 16 of 20 for 201 yards and 4 touchdowns, and then he follows that up with an 18 of 26 performance for 258 yards and 3 scores against Kent State. Nothing short of excellent from the quarterback, and you love to see that.
And then we were worried about Quentin Joyner, the injury, out for the season. But Blake, we kind of talked about it a couple weeks ago. If there was a position where you were going to lose a guy, running back would be okay in this system. Lo and behold, Cameron Dickey and Jacoby Williams are doing a fantastic job with a little thunder and lightning combo that we've got going on.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, TJ, with the system. This is that veer and shoot we talked a little bit about when we hired Mac Leftwich last year. Run, and then throw vertically, aligned route combinations, right? And the offense looks explosive. It looks great. TJ, I don't know about you, but I don't miss Zach Kitley and his 16 bubble screens and 3 drives that we would have been accustomed to seeing. I think I don't know that we've called a bubble screen in 2 games. I think the closest I've seen to a bubble screen was the little swing pass to one of the running backs where they kind of ran like a little swing route out of the backfield, like a mini, not a full wheel route, but like a mini wheel route, and it hit him in stride, and then they took off and run. I love it, TJ. The offense.
It's
This was
exciting.
this was a change that needed to happen to move away from just the true true out air raid. This was the iteration that comes from the Art Briles tree. This is the same offense that they run at Tennessee with Heupel. It is the variation of the air raid that was designed to punish the 3-3-5 and 4-2-5 systems that were developed to try to slow the air raid down, where you take advantage of that light box, you force those safeties down, and then you hit them over the top.
It's been fun to watch. And a guy I want to highlight real quick is somebody that it looks like we're making it a point to get the ball to, and that's Reggie Virgil.
Yeah, TJ, he's looked great coming in from Miami of Ohio, right? Correct me if I'm wrong there, but Miami of Ohio, just big physical receiver, a really good opposite field option from Payday Douglas, right? It's allowed Coy to kind of slide into that slot role, which I know he was played on the outside in the past. I think Coy's best in the slot personally. I think he's a really good route runner. I'm not going to make the lunch pail comment because I think that's an old tired archetype, but he's a good route runner. He's got good hands, and I think he fits well in the slot. Virgil against Kent State, 5 catches for 50 yards and 2 scores. And then against Arkansas Pine Bluff, 4 for 56 and a score. TJ, the thing that jumps off the screen when you watch him is just the body control. Whereas Payday is more of a, I'm going to run past you and then I'm going to jump up in the air and just and go make a play. Virgil's like the power forward that knows how to box you out, right? It's the body control. It's the ability to shield defenders from being able to make a play on the ball, and he's looked really impressive.
And then let's highlight another new guy on the offense before we get over to the defense, and that's the tight end Terrence Carter, who looks like a man-child.
Dude, he's a beast. I mean, I don't have anything else to say other than that. He's a beast. He's fast. He's a little short for a tight end, but he's still 245. He runs like a wide receiver. Like, this guy's a problem for linebackers. And like, you put a safety on him and a safety doesn't weigh enough, right? They're tall enough, they don't weigh enough, and linebackers aren't fast enough. So he is a matchup nightmare for opposing defenses for sure.
And I'm excited to see what's going to happen with this offense going forward. Again, take care of business. All you can do is beat the teams on your schedule and beat them bad and beat the brakes off them. And that's what we've done to the team.
They haven't done that in previous years.
No,
they haven't done that in recent memory. Going back to Matt Wells, I mean, and in the McGuire era. So if nothing else, and we've seen with McGuire even like last year, right, where they struggled with, they struggle with Abilene Christian, and then they go up and get their asses handed to them at Washington State. They got better as the year goes on. Well, the fact that they're already playing well and they're going to continue to get better, they do step up in competition a little bit this week. And then they've got the big one next weekend. Literally, it's the Big Noon Kick announced today against Utah. But it's encouraging. The offense looks good. It's explosive. I love the system. Every box that I could have asked to have been checked has been checked. And no bubble screens. I keep coming back to that. No bubble screens.
No, not only no bubble screens, Blake. I want to get to the fact that Will Hammond has gotten a full game of playing time already.
Love it.
I think that this year is going to be not only important for Baron Morton and the starters, but the fact that I expect to see more Will Hammond on Saturday against Oregon State. It might not be at halftime. It might just be the fourth quarter. But, I mean, this guy needs reps. He needs meaningful reps, and this coaching staff needs to see him play, not only in case Baron Morton gets hurt. Blake, I think it's very important to see whether or not you go portal shopping for a quarterback.
You just hit the nail on the head again, TJ. You're wise beyond your years this evening. No, I think letting Will Hammond get all of these reps in relief of Baron Morton is great. It lets him get experience, lets him show what he's got. I do think Will Hammond is the future of the quarterback position on this team. But the question is it next year or is it the following year, right? If they go portal shopping, it'll be for a senior, right? They'll go drop, $3.5–4 million on an elite quarterback and bring in a senior and maybe Will Hammond wait one more year, but he's looked pretty good. And it's not only Will Hammond, TJ, it's the young offensive linemen, seeing what some of these guys have got, right? The guys that you recruited out of high school, that have been in your system for 2 years now, right? And they're redshirt freshmen, and you're seeing what they've got. And guys like Micah Hudson getting some reps. I think Micah Hudson's a guy that you're going to need for the first team at some point this year, right? He's an injury from one of Virgil, Koyikin, or Payday Douglas away from being one of your top 3 receivers. So getting additional reps for everybody is great. And that starts with the first team taking care of business.
And Blake, this defense is as advertised. I mean, I don't know what to say. The speed, the closing speed, the linebackers, the pressure on the quarterback. I mean, everything that we were hearing coming out of camp looks the part.
I mean, especially the first teamers, right? Like they've given up a few yards here and there to the second when they put the second and third string in. But TJ, I keep coming back to this. It starts with that front, and this front is really, really good. I know that the competition is
6.
Yeah, I mean the thick 6, dude. The fat boy touchdown. Who doesn't love that, right? I mean, and look to give him some credit. It was an athletic play. I mean, he saw the ball get tipped up and he made a play on the football, and then I don't know how many times you see the defensive tackle that tries to take off in a full sprint the other direction and falls, right? And it was a good sprint, and look, he looked athletic and coordinated, and but no, TJ, this front is as advertised. I know the competition is a little weaker. I think you're going to get to really see more of your big 4, if you want to call them that. And they are rotating a lot, right? Esther's is getting time, and Holmes is getting time, and you love to see that. But I think this week you'll see more of your 4-man front that you want to see in conference play, right? Where you've got Height and Bailey on either edge with Skylar Gill-Howard and Hunter in the middle. TJ, my favorite thing to watch on that defensive line has been the Texas stunt that you've seen over and over again with Romello Height and SGH, where SGH kind of flares out and he frees up a lane, and Height, that guy gets off the ball, TJ. He has got a great first step. I know everybody wants to talk about how great Bailey is, and Bailey's got a great first step too, but that stunt on the inside has been lethal when they've unleashed it on teams. And the other thing, TJ, is that's really the only thing that this defensive line has shown, right? Because of the competition, they haven't done a lot of their elaborate stunts and different things that I think they're going to ultimately do. But man, they're
been able to line up and out talent people at this point.
Correct. And I think the offense is doing that too. It's been pretty vanilla, I think, on offense. That's the way it should be, right? Why show Utah anything more than you need to show them to win these games?
And I don't want to look ahead to Utah just yet. We do have Oregon State coming in on Saturday. But, Blake, this is a game where you're my Vegas guy. I believe we're a 3-touchdown favorite.
I saw 20. I thought it opened at 21.5, and maybe now it's up to 24. It's up to 23.5. TJ, if you're going to bet this, get on it now, because while this is a step up in competition, Oregon State's not that good. They've lost 2 games at home to Cal, who's horrible. Cal went in there and beat them 34-15. And then they lost at home to Fresno 36-27. The Red Raiders are going to cover 23.5. Okay. I'm just telling you, this is going to be a 30 to 40 point beatdown. That like you said, Will Hammond gets some time, maybe from 4 minutes on in the third quarter through the end of the game.
Which, again, I mean, I'm excited to see it. I love that the social media team poked at NCAA about his speed rating after that 64-yard touchdown in week 1. I thought that was great.
Yeah,
man,
for sure.
I'm going to sit here and give the social media teams for the Red Raiders some props. The last few years for football and basketball, very entertaining follows, very awesome video recaps. The access that we're getting to the locker rooms in both football and basketball. I'd like to think that if I was a student, I would have some kind of role in that department, but
You probably would have.
we didn't have social media department back then, so there's
Social media was still new when we were in school, TJ. It was around, but it was still it was still new. We had I think MySpace was gone by the time you and I were in school, but Facebook was really the only one, and maybe Twitter was in its very early stages of becoming a thing. So
it's been really fun to follow and keep up with the Red Raiders that way. But let's keep it moving and let's talk about this Utah game because Big Noon Kickoff, Dave Portnoy and the crew.
The line is already out, TJ.
Mr. Vegas, Blake, what is it?
The Red Raiders are getting points in this game. So Vegas has got it. It opened today. Yeah, it opened today at Tech plus 3.5, which if you know how Vegas does lines or whatever, they think Utah is 1 point better than the Red Raiders on a neutral field. TJ, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I do think Utah's good. I think that they've got a much better quarterback situation than they had last year with Devin Dampier. I think that and I said this when we did our predictions show, I said I thought that Utah was the one team in the league that could compete with you in the trenches. And I mean that, right? They've got a top 10, 15 O-line in the country. So watching their O-line go against this front is going to be a spectacle. It's going to be a game within the game, so to speak. That's why I think the defensive line hasn't shown anything other than that one stunt that they've run over and over again. I think our offensive line should be able to hold up decently against their D-line, which is probably the second best defensive line in the conference behind yours. Where I think the Red Raiders have an advantage, TJ, is on the outside. I really do. I think Tech has got better skill players. I think we've got more speed. And with all due respect to Devin Dampier, and I do think Devin Dampier is a good player. He has yet to face true high-level competition in his career, right? He played at New Mexico last year. I know they played UCLA in week 1 and looked good against UCLA stinks. Okay, like they stink. They're probably one of the bottom 2 or 3 teams in the entire Big Ten. They're down there with Northwestern and Maryland and Rutgers, and they're just not Indiana. Like Indiana's good now, I guess, but they're down there with Maryland, Rutgers. They're not any good. So we'll see. I do think taking Tech and the points makes a lot of sense. I picked us to win this game, and I'm not going to back off of that pick. But we're going to have to show up and play well. I mean, it's a
road game. It's going to be a tough environment.
Yep. But I will say this, being the Big Noon Kickoff, I think helps Tech, right? I think that subdues the crowd a little bit, right? I'd much rather play at 10 a.m. locally in Utah, which is what it's going to be for a noon kickoff here. I think it's 10 a.m. out there. Their crowd will have a lot less time to get liquored up at 10 a.m. I know you can fire up the Bloody Marys, and we do that in Lubbock, but
do people in Utah get liquored up?
It's not BYU. This is the other. Now that I know it's still a very heavily Mormon school. Both schools are very Mormon, but look, I think it helps us. I'd much rather play there at 10 a.m. in the morning local time versus play there at 7 o'clock at night, which is what I was afraid it was going to end up being. So advantage Tech.
Advantage Tech indeed here on the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast, TJ and Blake. Man, I just could not be happier for what's going on with this football program right now. AT&T, let's talk about that and their agreement with the Big 12. Crabtree was there doing some studio stuff. And what did you think of the presentation? I mean, I'm very used to Turner Sports. I watch baseball, basketball, college and pro on TNT. Mike Golick Jr. was on the call, was very complimentary of Lubbock, very complimentary of the facilities. And man, I was very impressed. They tried that Skycam a little bit too much, I thought, on the kickoff. Yeah. I didn't like it on the kickoff coverage, but for the most part, I thought that was a really good production.
Man, I think they get an A. I was also, like you, I was also very impressed with the pregame, the postgame, the halftime production. I thought that the guys on the call of the game did a nice job. They were very complimentary of Lubbock. There was no backhanded comments that you sometimes get from the ESPN commentators. Not that our good friend Ted Edemerick did that. Ted Edemerick did a nice job when he called our game against Arkansas Pine Bluff. But some of the more national guys, where they have their biases to the Big Ten and the SEC. Overall, I thought that they did a really nice job, and I love this agreement that Yormark has negotiated with them to cover Big 12 games. As another outlet to park games on a national. I know it doesn't technically count as a national broadcast, but it's a national broadcast.
Yeah.
So, very impressed. They even had our buddy Cody on there for an in-game interview. So he's not only writing checks, he's now doing stand-in interviews for national broadcast games to promote the program.
He's getting around. He did an interview that I was going to watch on YouTube recently with, what's the guy's name? Big college football guy. I'm gonna have to watch
Josh
it.
Pate, maybe.
Yes. He did one with. I see the guy's face. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm gonna have to YouTube Cody Campbell and watch every interview that he's done and say the same thing. But no, we are very thrilled with Mr. Campbell. And TNT even highlighted his tweet. Where
I think the quote was,
"I will" tweet.
Yeah, well, I think they said, the tweet that went viral was "I will" turned into "I did" or something was I think how they said it, and he did. I mean, so
he has.
Yeah.
So, man, we're super excited to cover more of this season. Blake and I both expect a lot out of the Red Raiders. We're back drinking that Kool-Aid, and man, hey, let's do it. Cheers to the Kool-Aid. That being said, Blake, we've got Oregon State coming up Saturday. Are we ESPN Plus for this one?
Let me look. I think so. No, it's Fox. It's a 2:30 Fox kick.
It is. It is going to be on Fox. Okay.
Good. Fox wants to get Tech on TV. We're making waves, so that this makes sense. And TJ, the last thing we can kind of close with this, and then talk more next week after we get a better litmus test on what this team is when they step up in competition significantly with Oregon State. But the Utah game's obviously a big game. But I'll say this: even if they drop the Utah game, if they play well in the Utah game, I'm not going to panic. I look around the rest of this league, right, and you look at your schedule in the league. I think that there's 5 or 6 teams that are going to contend for those 2 spots in Arlington at the end of the year. A team that I'll just come and say I was wrong in picking us to lose to K-State. They stink. I mean, they absolutely stink up in Manhattan. Okay. They've got old Matt Wells as the offensive coordinator. They are horrible. I mean, horrible.
They just paid Army to come into Manhattan and beat them.
This is on the backs of needing a last-second drive to pull a game out of their asses against North Dakota, not North Dakota State, North Dakota the previous week. They stink, dude.
Wow. And then how about that last-second touchdown to have Mississippi State take down Arizona State?
I was going to get to them next. Thank you for your nice prompt there, my friend. Arizona State, I think Arizona State's going to be okay. I think they will get better as the year goes, but they have not looked good through 2 weeks. I mean, they struggled in week 1, and then they go to Mississippi State and they lose, and a game that, they did give up a last-second touchdown. But TJ, they got their asses kicked in the first half. I mean, they were down like 17-0 at halftime or something like that against a bottom feeder SEC team, right? I look around, here's where it gets encouraging, though, right? So if you throw K-State out and they're not a contender, TJ, do you think BYU is legitimate with a freshman quarterback? They've looked good through 2 weeks. They haven't kind of like Tech, they haven't played anybody. I don't know that I trust that freshman to take BYU all the way. So if BYU is not in the mix, that leaves Iowa State, Utah, Texas Tech, Arizona State if they figure it out, Baylor, and TCU, right? Well, you don't play Iowa State, you don't play Baylor, and you don't play TCU. So you kind of look at your schedule and like, man, you get to feast on Houston and do we need to bring up Oklahoma State? They're an embarrassment to the league.
Wow.
They are an embarrassment
Is
to
it
the
time
league.
for Gundy to hang it up or what?
Dude, the fall, and they're a good they were a good program for a long time under Gundy, right? I envied what they had. I wanted that. I was like, why can we not do that? And boy, they stink. I mean, I was making fun of Kansas State a second. Kansas State would beat Oklahoma State by 40. Okay.
And what about
West Virginia stinks. They lost at Ohio. You play them.
Baylor going into SMU and needing 2 overtimes to get a win.
SMU's good.
That's a playoff team from a year ago.
SMU is good. Here's the thing with Baylor, right? I think Baylor's offense is elite. I believe in Sawyer Robinson.
Is nasty good.
Dude, he's a Lubbock kid. I think he is really good. I think that offense is really good. That offense will keep them in every game that they play all year long, right? I think Baylor is like Texas Tech was in like the early 2000s under Leach. We're like, hey, we can score 40 on everybody. We're going to give up 45 in the process and have to win a shootout because our defense is atrocious, right? That's where Baylor's at. And then the one X factor team that I don't really know because I don't think North Carolina is any good with Bill Belichick, but like how good is TCU? Right? And I do think Hoover is good. To be fair to him, I think Hoover is a good quarterback. But how good is TCU? They're kind of the dark horse X factor that you can't really put a pin on, right? Because I want to see more. But like you look at your schedule, Oklahoma State stinks. Kansas State stinks. West Virginia stinks, losing at Ohio this weekend. Houston looks better, but I don't think you're really afraid to play Houston, right? So it keeps coming back to those. I thought the K-State game mattered. I think it comes down to 2 games, TJ. Can you take care of business against one of Utah or Arizona State? If you win one of those 2 games, I think you're in Arlington. Bottom line.
And we'll leave it there here on the Nation's official podcast, the Scarlet and Black Nation official podcast. Don't want to get us in trouble. But man, Blake, it's an exciting time around here. Looking forward to next week as we get a recap on Oregon State. You can see it on Fox. Make sure you check out the Scarlet and Black Nation Insider guys. RC and the boys over there doing great work as always. And man, fun show. It is fun when you win, and it's fun when you play well. So that being said,
check.
Yeah, hey, in a look around the Big 12, you can only play on your schedule, and it does look like there's a path. And the road
early,
the
long way to go. Take it one week at a time, but you start looking at this schedule, man, and it's like I said, Oklahoma State's terrible, West Virginia's terrible, Kansas State looks like they're just lost in the sauce. Like, there's a path. You got to win one of those 2 games, but there's path. Because again, you don't play your other contenders, right? You don't play Iowa State, you don't play Baylor, you don't play TCU.
So yeah,
you get BYU and Lubbock. If BYU is legitimate, and we'll find out. That's the other team that's kind of the X factor.
You bring a freshman quarterback into the Jones, good luck.
Which will probably be a night game, by the way.
Right.
So, if BYU proves to be a contender, you get them in Lubbock, and that helps. So I think there's a path, TJ. I really do.
So we'll leave it there here on the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast. We are your hosts, TJ and Blake. Blake, how do we always get out of here?
Wreck 'em.
We will talk to you guys soon. Let's go.